This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we're going to talk about the content creator interview we did with Daniel Steed of BioWare and talk about some of the details behind our answers. It was quite a fun process, and we'll break it down and we'll tell you sort of how it worked. This broadcast astromech, who's going to be helping us out today, is EPC 297. Yikes. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
It's going great. You know, when you say EPC number every week, I don't really listen, but 297. Wow.
Yeah,
That just hit me.
that's only a few more
Um,
episodes until nothing is gonna happen because we are
you're
not
right.
planning
That's right.
a
We'll do
thing.
nothing for episode 300. Right.
Big
Nothing.
regular
Doing nothing is pretty
episode
much our
that we're gonna
hallmark.
forget, and we're gonna get to the start of
Yeah.
the episode, and we're gonna go episode 300 and go,
Oh yeah,
oh,
300.
300. So yes.
Should have done something.
So what have you been
I'll
doing?
have a celebratory bowl of Rice Krispies for breakfast the next morning.
Rice checks.
Not Rice.
Rice
Oh my
checks.
God, I don't even know my own thing. Rice checks. Yes. Okay. So we were talking pre-show. I do like rice checks. But since you asked, Max, what I've been doing in SWTOR this week, oh my gosh, this previous week, so much conquest. I got a bee in my bonnet that I was gonna do some Dantooine on all of my pub characters, which we weren't even on. We were focusing on imp side, but somebody told me, like when I did the turret mission, I was like hitting the 1 key to kill the mobs and the 3 key to shield my turret, and then I would use the AoE. And somebody said, no, you just have to just mash the 1 button over and over. And so then I got this idea that I would do that on all my pub characters. Just log in and do that 1 quest because it's so quick. And they got so many conquest points that, like, about halfway through the week, I'm sort of like, well, I'll just do 1 more quest with each one of them. And I got like, I
That's
want to say 12 characters to conquest target last week. It was crazy.
that's how they get you.
Um,
Yep.
yeah. But in the middle of this whole process, Max was reminding me through conversations that he has this goal of getting command rank 300 on 8 classes, which I wasn't going to do. I was going to be happy when I got to 4, and I just finished my 4th one, which was my scoundrel. Who, by the way, the very first crate he opened at level 70, he had an artifact crate in there, and he got a main hand from it, so he was very lucky.
Which is cool.
But I decided that I wanted to do the all 8 now. So now I've been sort of like head down working on command XP because, like Max mentioned last week, it's the achievement is going away. So, it's extra special to me now. I haven't cared about it until this week, but now it's like right in there next to my heart. So, where I am is I have 5 characters to 5 of classes to 300, and I need to finish my operative, my sentinel, and my sage, which is amazing that I don't have my sage at 300. But that's because I had my sorg at 300, and I thought I didn't need to do my sage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Which you didn't for
us,
the Galactic Command boost, but you do for
right,
this meta achievement.
right. So while I was doing all this conquest, I also did like 2 or 3 characters on the imp side too, since we were focusing on the imp side, and we made our targets on both sides. But last week was really hard not to make your targets because Dantooine is very conquest point rich, and we did a lot of activities on Dantooine. A lot of Dantooine last week, and this week I'm focusing more on like the black hole and CZ198 on these 3 characters that need CXP just to give them that little boost of doing the weeklies. And then tonight we're recording on Tuesday night, and we just finished MFN, and we did Xeno. We did one of the world bosses on on Ilum, and we did 3 rampages, and we basically did 3 groups of personal conquest targets in that time for people. Like, we changed characters 2 different times, and we're halfway to large target from just doing that for the guild. So it was a it's been a crazy 2 weeks for conquest. That's fun. It's fun to see the numbers mounting up like that. So conquest and command XP, those are my deal right now, and rice check.
And race checks. uh, I'm in the same boat. So I hit Dantooine hard. I hit double XP hard. I hit Dantooine and I created, and I mentioned last week, and it's still out there, although you're not going to add anything to it this week, but I updated my spreadsheet for Dantooine rep. In fact, I had another question I meant to double check for. I think Medulla was asking me earlier. I believe it is 17,500 rep cap for Dantooine each week, which is different from, at least different from every other planet, except I'm not positive about Osis. The deal there is then it's exactly 4 weeks. It's 12, it's 17.5, 35. It's 70,000 rep to get to legend is what you need. So there's no point in the little trick we used to do, which was when you want to get to 12,000, you'd get to 11,995, and then you'd use a purple one, and then you'd be over 13,000 for that week, and you could get to champion rep 1 week earlier. That none of that stuff matters. So it's just 4 weeks if you've got all the rep tokens. You only had the last 2 weeks to gather those rep tokens until the next time the event comes around, though. So there's that. Unless these little
Which, by the way,
weeklies have rep tokens associated with them, which I don't know.
I have a bunch of the green rep tokens from all those pub characters logging in and doing just the turret mission.
And so the chat room, BC in the chat room is asking me to read the amount each rep token is worth. I can. Are you being sarcastic? Are you being facetious in your request? Green tokens are worth 111.5 rep. Which is as a subscriber. So it's all weird, and I don't know why these are the numbers. But green are 111.5, blue are 269.5, and purple are 1386.5. If you go to newoverlords.com in resources, you can get the spreadsheet that shows it all. But you got to put in your character, you got to put in your bonus for that character, whichever guild that character happens to be in. And you got to do all the adding up of all your tokens. And I have enough now to get all the way to legend in the next couple weeks. So by next Tuesday night, I will be legend. I am legend. So there's that. So that's one thing I was doing. But then I also, as we talked about, now that they're taking it out of the game, I started looking at what characters I still need command ranks on, and I did a lot of work around that. I didn't even have a level 70 of each of these classes to start. So Galahad is giving me grief here in the chat room, rightly so. It's not that I don't have a ton of characters at the command rank 300.
It's just, yeah.
I have all the same advanced class, or same base class.
Right.
I have a mercenary and a power tech and a vanguard and a commando and a sork. And so it's like I have a ton of characters that are command rank 300, but I don't have 4. So I'm missing 4. I'm missing Sage. I'm missing Smuggler. I'm missing Jedi Knight, and I'm missing Imperial Agent. And my agent was 67. My agent wasn't even 70. So now I counted them all up, and just in the last week, I did hundreds of command ranks. So my smugglers are like 120, my agent's 110, my consular's 120, my knight is only like 20, command rank 20. I have over 800 ranks to go by the end of the summer. So Simo was saying, in fact, you did the math. It was 14 weeks left. So I have something around 60 ranks a week that I need to do to push through, to power through this summer.
Right. And I don't think we have the enough information right now to predict what activities that will take, because I can look at like how much command XP I get for doing like the Black Hole Weekly or whatever, but there's so much other command XP things happening every time you kill something, every time you
Right.
turn something in every time
Yeah, it's all
put
up
your
in the
right
air.
arm in,
I
take your right arm
I
out.
logged in on my consular on my Sage, and I got 4 command ranks because I had completed Conquest last week. I had a boost running, and it gave me, and wherever I was, maybe I was only 10 points away from the next rank or whatever. I ended up getting 4 command crates. I ended up getting 4 command ranks. So I went from 120 to 124 from logging in. So yeah, I don't know how to predict.
Yeah, and like just playing a little bit differently, I can get a lot more command XP because, like, for instance, when the Ragdoll event is here, I typically log in and do one mission because I would do that one mission for conquest points, and you only get conquest points once a day. But I'm sure if you do the weekly on every character that you want command XP for, you get a ton of command XP. So
Right.
I might, instead of doing just the same quest over and over again, which I do the little Rackling collecting one because it takes like 30 seconds. If I did one round of the whole thing and got the command XP, well, maybe I don't know. I might do that.
I might start
So,
playing in some of these other classes. I've been taking them through OSIS to get some 252 gear. I might start maining in these classes this summer on our ops nights and on MFN nights, as you
yep,
say. I always default. I
to get
love
the
playing
crates.
my merc, and I love playing my. If I'm gonna play Republic, and this has always been the case, and this is why I'm so far behind. I like my Vanguard and I like my merc. They're my mains. But
Yeah.
they might have to just sort of take a little bit of a back seat. But as you can see right now, I'm back on my merc for the night. But this is
It's
for reasons. So
I had no interest in doing this, and then like suddenly I did. I mean, it was partially
yeah,
because you started to do it, and it kind of was a model for me, and I'm looking at that thinking, heck yeah, I want this achievement now.
and
But
anything
like
that
six
Max
months
does,
ago,
Seema thinks she can do better. So she's
well,
proving it, and
I
she's.
don't think that.
All right. So there's. All right. Let's talk about some news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
First up in the news, if everyone was taking advantage of Bug Hunt to get. Why were people doing it? It was because uh, you were getting a ton of conquest points. You would go do Bug Hunt, and you would just get unreasonably large amount of bug hunt of points of conquest points from Bug Hunt, so that it's getting grinded over and over and over. BioWare hates that kind of thing, which they rightly should. Everybody hates it, but they do it. You do it because it's the most efficient way, conquest points per minute, and they nerfed it. So there you go. First up. Of course, they should nerf it because anything where you're forcing, sort of making someone feel like they're forced to do a thing that's just terrible, you should take that away so that they can go do fun things and not grind
So
themselves into quitting the
right, so
game.
that you can go and do nightlife
You mean the casino of
because that's
lies?
not repetitive. Yeah. But yeah, no, I understand why they nerf it. And I know there's people who it's fun for them because it's gratifying to see the numbers rise quickly. So I think there is an element of fun for some people, but I think a larger number of people, like you said, they feel compelled to do it because it's the fastest way to do
And
something,
you're in a
and that's
conquest guild, and
too bad.
everybody else in the conquest guild is saying you're dumb if you don't do it. So then you're like, "All right, fine, I'll go do this thing," and then you quit because why would you put yourself through that?
But
But
the nerf was they changed the amount of conquest those bugs were giving, so you can go and kill bugs nonstop, but you don't get the same results.
yeah,
They didn't, yeah,
which is fine.
yeah. Um, Also this week we've been battling some super lag on Dantooine and in other places too, like in strongholds. Um, and there's been a couple of responses from Eric about the team has worked on it and improved it. I still see it from time to time. But the people in the forums are providing some input back to the team saying where they experience it and where they haven't experienced it, which has got to be helpful.
Yeah,
Um, but it was to me it was like a weird kind of lag. It wasn't like that. It wasn't the kind where you like everything stops and then catches up later, or where it just gets sluggish. It was like you'd hit an ability and it just wouldn't fire, and then it would fire later.
Yeah.
Um,
I heard someone in
it
general
was
saying,
very.
just pretend you have a 4-second global cooldown, and it's perfect.
And then put that together with I still use my ranged companion with the fact that back there and hasn't caught up yet.
Yeah.
So it's like it's
Shea
just
Vizsla.
that was yeah.
Shea
So,
Vizsla on a Marauder or a Sentinel, which
and
is terrible.
if you've ever watched how they path to, it's sort of like you run ahead and just turn back and watch them, and they go forward a little bit, and then they go to the side, then they back up, and then they go forward towards you. And it's like it takes them like 10 seconds to get to where you are. Meanwhile, someone else has killed the mob.
Right.
But there's a couple times I decided today, because of things I decide, to play through the McKeb storyline on my Sentinel. She literally would follow me, but go under where I was. Like if I went up a ramp onto a, you know how they have those mining platforms? I would go up the ramp onto the mining platform. She would just go through the ramp and be underneath me on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think they're trying to fix the companion thing, because little odd differences like that. But so I had to like go down there, come this way, go around up the ramp. Now we can play. Anyways, yes, lag on Dantooine. They're working on it.
Yes. They're also working on. Apparently, there's a problem if you do become the conqueror of Dantooine through conquest, that there's no achievement that's showing up. So they'll fix that, I'm sure. I'm sure it's not affecting all that many people just yet, but it's a thing, because I'm sure people want they want that achievement if they did the work, and they will.
So
They'll correct that.
people in chat are saying that that they're betting that the X-Pack won't come in September because of things like this lag problem and the companion bug, that they're just not ready. But that's good, because we're schools. We need some extra time to get our command XP.
For one, yes, that would be great, because we've got more command ranks to get. For two, since when have they had a problem with putting out an expansion that didn't have bugs in it? Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to stop anybody. They'll just say, we're going to fix this in a future expansion.
Yeah.
I missed this today, but you were around. I had a long work day and could not log in during the day.
Yeah.
So I luckily
Yes.
did not experience this at all. So what was up with this?
I could not log in this morning for coffee and contemplation. And I was not the only one. There were a lot of people who could not log in. And there was a problem that specifically with if your character was in a stronghold, which all of mine are. Yeah, I think there might be one or two that are parked by a Datacron or something somewhere that I never play, but that you couldn't log in, or possibly couldn't log in. So they got it mostly fixed with a back-end fix, and then they had to take the servers down later in the day to because that did not fix it for every character. So they had to take the servers down and apply another fix, which they did this afternoon. And I believe it's fixed now. I believe everyone can log in on all their characters.
I think so. Nobody seemed to have a problem in our MFN, our fun night tonight, that I heard of. So that's good. And yeah, I missed it completely, which was nice.
Butter Cadillac in the chat room said the problem actually started last night. And BC said the same thing.
I believe that, because I was in late last night. In fact, I tried to get in one last Osis World Boss kill on my Sentinel last night. And it never came together on our Starforge, whatever our server name is. But I saw a couple of people in general saying, hey, I can't log in on my main. And I just blew it off because it's general chat. But then it turned out to be real. So yeah, all fixed. That sounds good. And then finally in the news, Narshada Nightlife started up today. It's going to be running until July 30th, so all summer. So you've got all that time to blow a whole bunch of credits and not get the what's not the Pigman again? What comes out of the slot machines this round? Did they say? Is it in the article?
I don't know.
Did it? Because the Pigman was last. It was last time.
Yeah, I never got the Pigman either.
Rodian companion.
To be fair,
here he is. You get this Rodian.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's cute.
I
did not try a lot.
Nure. This is what I won't be getting this time. That's good to know. What
You can buy him next year.
That's what I'll buy next year in the casino of lies and sadness. Good to know. I've got my nightlife drop in here somewhere. Should have
See,
played
the
that.
thing about nightlife is when you're a procrastinator like myself, and particular thing is kind of put it off until it's like about to go away, and then I'm like,
Yeah,
then I'm playing the slot machines.
I procrastinate this one just a little bit too. Uh, if you are not familiar, with nightlife, there are really some nice
Yeah.
decos and items that you can just buy with the certificates that you're building up as you play for a while. I like them. I like the decos. The dance floor deco that comes from Nightlife is awesome.
Yep.
You put it in your
I love that.
stronghold. You can click on it, and your character breaks into whatever some random dance that you may not even have unlocked, and it'll do the dance. And the weapons, so the legacy bound weapons are some really cool looking weapons. In fact, I think I might have switched over. These are not my favorite weapons, but I needed legacy bound ones. I think these ones might be Kingpin. Oh no, these are Nico's. But they're sort of like the 1930s gangster style themed weapons.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Coppers, you'll never get me, coppers. See? Fella, this is my Tommy gun. So yeah, do it. And tell me how many Rhodians you get. Well, I get none, and that'll be great. I'd appreciate that. So just keep tweeting that at me every time you get another one and say, I got one for every single character. And I'll have 7 million credits in the slot machine and won't get any. In guild news.
But you can afford it.
I can afford it. Oh, I didn't explain that news yet, did I? Also
Yeah.
up in the news, Max has 1 billion credits.
Max news.
Max has 1 billion
Max
credits,
has made the grade.
Which means I now have 0 credits. That's the problem. So once you get to 1 billion, that's really cool. But now I can't spend any of them because I'll do you know?
Then you won't have 1 billion anymore.
Do you know what the Tres Comas Club is? When your net worth has 3 commas in it, it's a Silicon Valley, the TV show reference. They're actually making fun of Mark Cuban, the character Mark Cuban character that's based on him. It talks all about the Tres Comas Club when you're a billionaire. So I'm in the Tres Comas Club now, and if I spend underneath I'll get kicked out of the Tres Comas Club. So
that's right.
So I've been like making a whole bunch. I've been like selling more stuff on the GTN because now I can't spend it. I can't even repair my gear because I'm like poor.
Max, do you need me to loan you some credits?
Kind of, because I can't. I have 1 billion. All right. In guild news, I wanted to do a quick rundown. Marcus yelled at me because we didn't talk about the guild too much in the past 2 weeks, which there was just so much news for one, but for two, it was a little bit of a miss because the Death Star Troopers ops team in our guild got, and I think it's twice now, they did hard mode Brontes. I mean, they missed a couple players one night. They brought them in hard mode Brontes. So they were working through regulars. They were working through hards. They geared people up. They did hard mode Brontes finally killed a hard mode Brontes. They've been working on hard mode Dread Fortress there for a little while. So awesome job, guys. The whole group finally got that together. So thumbs up on that.
And they were running multiple times a week, trying to set up lockouts for it and everything. They put a lot of work into it.
They got the strat down. So Wings of the Architects coming next. Get that guy. Actually, I think next they're going to go into hard mode Scum and Villainy, which is also really cool. The Sup Ops team is doing some awesome stuff. They are running that's the Wednesday night team. They're doing some cool stuff. Check in with that team if you want to run on Wednesday night because they need fill-ins on occasion. And they've been just marching through all the stories, the story modes of everything, make sure everybody has the achievements in that. And they're going to move into hard modes, I bet, pretty soon. The Soldiers of Light Monday Night Republic ops team, they're working on hard mode queens because everybody's going to then start getting their 258 weapons. And then there's this
Sweet.
other Thursday Not Ops team, and I don't know what those nuts do.
Yeah, that's ours.
That's ours.
LOL, Lords of Light.
Well, we got to get
Why did we
everybody in
come up with
town
that?
and not in Asia. We have two of our regulars
We
have been in Asia,
our,
right?
our
Yeah.
they're like jet
Singapore
setters.
and Japan. Yeah, kind of a big deal, if you know what I mean.
But once they get home and rested,
Yes.
then
Then
we can start doing
fire it
ops
back up, and yeah, we're gonna start farming the queen, the hard mode queen as well, to get some 258 spread around. What else we got going on in Guild and Community SEMA, which was awesome
Well,
on
I already
Friday.
talked way too much about MFN, but we still do that on Tuesday nights, starting at 9 p.m. on Eastern. Everyone is welcome. This week, I already told you we did Xeno, we did Rampages, and we did one world boss. The other one wasn't up, so we typically don't wait around for them because Tuesday nights is really hard to catch the world bosses. And also coming up, Mega.
We just
The
had
last one we did, the June Mega, was a PvP night that Marcus hosted, and we had a PvP coach, one of our guildies, Medulla, who went through, explained each map that we went into. Well, I say we. I was a cheerleader. He told people, what to look for, what abilities to use, what abilities not to use, when to hold off on certain abilities, and was really a fount of good information. So it was a very, very good night. We use SWTOR's feature where you can go into a war zone as a guild and it's your own war zone. You're not queuing. There's nobody in there but just the people that you take in there, and had the two guild groups sort of duke it out.
Yeah.
Which is a great feature that SWTOR has.
Really nice way
And
to
then
learn the map and learn the strats
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. And Medulla did a
And then
great job. I mean, really,
Yeah, he really did.
really
He
good
made
job
it
talking
sound
about it.
understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really
Yeah.
appreciated him doing that.
We closed out the night with a tour of Liberty, Stronghold. Liberty is a guildie, and we're probably going to do some more of that. But it was really fascinating to see that Stronghold. It was there's so much cool stuff in there, and I think everyone's Stronghold is so different. It's amazing. So we're going to do more of that on Mega. And then there's Mega coming in July, which we're going to kill the dude on Yavin 4. His name just left me. Ancient Threat. The Ancient Threat.
Yeah.
Which as a guild we have not done before. And so we're still kind of feeling out all the requirements for it, and like where you get the buffs and how long do they last and who has to do what. But that's what we're going to do in July.
Which should be really interesting. Marcus is still running it. So Marcus from the Working Class Nerds podcast and one of our officers, he's arranging it. He's figuring out the optimal way, because there's some interesting prerequisites to even fighting that boss, where you have to do some things on Yavin. You have to chase down the Force Ghosts, and you have to do some extra stuff. So he's going to get it all worked out and all planned out. We might have to make that a 3-hour night instead of our usual 2 hours, because it might take some extra setup time to get everybody buffed up with the Force Ghosts from coast to coast and whatnot. So
yes.
And certainly shout out to the chat room. Thank you very much for helping us out here, keeping us on track, asking me all the right questions, like, hey, what are the stats on this character? And can you read the stats on the rest of all of your gear on all your other characters? The answer to that, of course, is yes. Galahard, that's awesome. Thank you for telling me you have 3 pig companions. I have none, so thanks. I hate it. And then
it's clean living. It's clean living.
But yeah. So thank you, chat room. You guys are awesome. And with that,
yes, you are.
We got interviewed by the man behind the curtain.
The great Oz has spoken. Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
Oh, I am
Daniel Steed. So, the great and powerful Daniel Steed called us up a little while ago, a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now, and said, hey, we've got this blog series called community content creators of SWTOR, and they're going. They did SWTORista, they did Volk, and he said that the spin that they were looking for, which sort of fit well with us, was um, both a content creator that's focused on the game, but also someone who talks a little bit about guilds and sort of has that guild spin, and wanted to get a little bit of that background on what we've done, how we create content, and then that idea of managing a guild and how that's worked. We've been in the game with our guild since pre-launch. So if you were around in the beta timeframe and in the pre-launch timeframe, you could form your guild on the website even before the game was launched, before launch day, and it would take your characters and assign them into the guild then as part of the launch. Get your guild name. So we had multiple guilds. We had it all laid out. We were sort of deep into the guild structure as part of our larger Alea Yacht S, which is now over 10 years old as a guild. So it made sense. So we're going to go through it a little bit, talk about the process, how it was cool, how awesome Daniel is. It was really great to work with, and then
Yeah, it was.
sort of go through a little bit of maybe a little bit more of the details behind some of the answers, because they were questions that we came up with. Most of the questions we came up with jointly. He threw some questions our way, and then we sort of answered them. Both of us gave an answer. Both of us each gave an answer to each question, so you can sort of read through both of our perspectives. But it was a blast. It was really, really fun. So yeah, what was your overall impression and comments on even doing this at all, Seema?
Well, the first thing I want to say is Dan made that sort of portrait of us with our guns blazing. He made that. Like, he told us, "What's your favorite armor?" And we gave him these two sets that we wear on our mains, and he made the rest.
Yeah.
Like, we did not pose for that.
What's your how is your character laid out? What hair color do you have? Give me a picture. Tell me your armor set. Tell me your weapons. Um, he said he's got a tool where he can sort of lay it out and create a scene and stage it and get sort of like the perfect screenshot because it's staged in the tool. So yeah, and I like it.
And I think it's
I like
yeah,
it. I like
I
how
do
it
too.
came out.
I mean, we're not shooting each other, but that's fine. But yeah, I enjoyed the process also.
Yeah, yeah, it was quite fun, and it was good questions that he came up with. In fact, I'm just going here. Let me go back to my the right
I mean, the challenge for
weapons.
me, like, is to keep my answers brief, right? Because, like, he asked us what got you into playing SWTOR. Well, so many things, right?
Yeah,
I could say a lot.
but it wasn't too bad. And I mean, it was still a sizable post. We didn't have to make it super brief.
No. In fact, that wasn't part of it. He didn't say make sure you're brief or anything like that. I just didn't want to be. I wanted my answer to be interesting enough that you'd read all the way to the end. So in other words, I had to make it short.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. So they kicked it off with what you and I think they've been asking each of the content creators some of these common questions. What got you into playing SWTOR? And now I've forgotten what I even said. So let's see. I'll tell you what I said, and you tell me what you said, and then if you notice anything, we can talk about it. But yeah, so this is what I said. I can see it now. So, yeah, I've been playing MMOs forever. I've played a ton of the MMOs. Not every MMO. I think I created some characters in City of Heroes, but didn't really play it. I didn't play Dark Age of Camelot, but I played a lot of the MMOs. Um, Asheron's Call, EverQuest, all the way back to Ultima Online. So I did Ultima Online for a long time. I was in WoW. I was in AIE. We were looking at Star Wars, and we knew the guild was going to want to get into it, and I was into it at the time, big fan. So got involved in the beta and been playing nonstop since launch. Yeah, pretty much nonstop. I think I've been subscribed every single day since launch. Yeah,
Yeah, for me,
yeah.
I mean, for me, I've been a long time MMO player, not as many as you. But when I heard about an MMO based on Star Wars, I thought, oh my gosh, that was just tailor made for me because I love the Star Wars movies. And I wasn't involved pre-launch, but I was there at the launch. I mean, like I signed up for it a little bit before because I was just running, late as I often do. But I was there like, the night before midnight trying to log in. Um,
Yeah.
Not with AIE at the time because I had been playing Rift and I was with a guild in Rift and a bunch of those people were coming over to SWTOR and I had some real life friends also that were playing SWTOR. But when those two the groups of people sort of wandered off as groups of people tend to do, I was aware of AIE from playing WoW earlier. So I thought, you know what, if AIE is in this game, I'm gonna go do that. AIE a little bit after launch. And that is how I got into SWTOR and into AIE.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think we did have some people that just joined because of Star Wars, and that was about the time that the guild was really starting to expand into lots of other games. And before that, the guild was pretty much just a WoW guild. I think we had just expanded into Eve, and then Star Wars was the next big one that sort of opened the floodgates and got us into a bunch of other games. Did you ever play Star Wars Galaxies, Seema?
I did not.
I
Did
did,
you?
yes. So I played that. I played it sort of more towards the tail end. I played it when it was in its decline, and I played it not too long before it ended up just shutting down. And I liked it, and so that was a draw as well. If you wanted to play a Star Wars game again, and I typically play MMOs also. So if I wanted to play a Star Wars game again, yes, I did play KOTOR. I did play a little bit. I played a little bit of some of the single player Star Wars games that had come out in the past, but I never placed single player games all the way through. I mean, I have Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption is RDR2, and it's awesome. And I played it for like a couple hours, and that's it. I don't do
Yeah,
the
I'm the
single
same
player
way.
games.
I I feel like, yeah, I have a hard time with single player games because if I feel like if I'm gonna spend a time playing a game, I want to progress my character, my MMO character.
Right. All right. So this next question, favorite memory. I thought we had quite different answers here, but I guess not too different. But yeah. So what was your favorite memory? I see you saying here.
So my favorite memory from early days is kind of just a small moment. So my first character that I leveled to max was a sage, and as a sage, you run for a long time with Kaizen Fest. So me and Kaizen go way back because it's a long time before you get any other companions. And I just remember this moment when I first got to Coruscant, and this was after running from the spaceport for half an hour because we didn't have you couldn't use speeders
Or
then
walking,
at that level.
not even
Yeah, not
running.
even running. Yeah, walking. And then Kaizen looks out at this Coruscant, which is what's the word, ecumenopolis,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, um, "Is Cold World both full and empty?" And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so philosophical because it's full and it's empty.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, we had quite a relationship. Not, like he was my tank and I was the healer, right? That's how I played back in those days. And yeah, so I depended on him to be successful in everything I did. And then he was this Trandoshan warrior type, but also with this philosophical side, which I found really compelling. So that's my story.
Yeah. That was all part of the whole of how alive everything really
Yeah.
seemed to be, and how much the story and the voice acting and the cutscenes, which still are
How they
practically,
matter.
yeah, they matter. And well, choices that matter, we don't have to get into that, but
Yeah. It's cutscenes that matter.
cutscenes that feel like scenes that you are participating in, and they feel like movie scenes. Not, I mean, a lot of the other top MMOs that are out there. I play Final Fantasy every once in a while, and Final Fantasy has some great story, but it's like reading a book or inferring the story because the cutscenes, they don't the at most one of the characters' mouths will go during the cutscene. Some of them talk in once in a while, but most of every like quest cutscene, every quest, the mission that you pick up, you get the little cutscene and somebody talks to you. Wow, that's really cool. Not very many games do that. And boy, your character doesn't talk at all in Final Fantasy. That bugs the heck out of me. You just nod. You constantly nod. And then some of the other characters nod. And half of every cutscene in Final Fantasy is, like little tiny person nods. Pink girl nods. You look at both of them and nod at both of them. Drives me nuts. It's like, get it. And you can't spacebar through some of these things. It makes me crazy. Anyway, my point was, what did I say? Yeah, just more of that story and really feeling it, and the whole chapter one in a lot of the classes, but chapter one in the Bounty Hunter sort of really sold me. And I said this. I was even saying it again tonight, relating to the trailers, the cinematic trailers, and the way they constructed the classes, and the fact that you could feel really powerful and want to play a non-force class in a Star Wars game, not have a lightsaber, and feel like you were really cool and it mattered, and that was a really cool thing to be and play.
Right, you're still a hero, even though you have, you don't have a lightsaber.
And I never turned back. I mean, my main is the Vanguard on the Republic side and the Mercenary on the Imperial side.
And also, like my very, very, very first character that I just created and logged in everything, started on Ord Mantell. And with that scene where you fly in on the ship and you get landed in the middle of the Separatists and you're fighting this battle. So many MMOs start off with like a quote unquote starting area that teaches you your abilities one by one. And
right.
I always hate those. They they don't sell the
10
game.
pigs. All right, I'll go kill 10 pigs. And
yes. Show that you know how to click on things on the ground.
And
yeah,
and there was
here's a
but
quest for you.
you're so right. It was no, my shuttle's coming in hot, and we gotta
Right.
we gotta go fight these separatists right now, and we just crashed. I'm gonna have to repair this shuttle, and what?
Plus,
we're not gonna make it, man.
And it's after watching this fantastic cinematic to begin with too.
Right.
That's one of those where, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy
seeing
good
Chase
beginning.
Malcolm run in there with the cannon, and and Malgus, and Malgus could be around the corner. You never know. And yeah, you really got that feeling, and they really did a good job with it. So then in the interview, the questions, it took that spin to, okay, let's talk a little bit about the guild. So we don't need to go into this too much in detail. We both sort of talked a little bit about it. The history of our guild is relatively well known. It's on our guild website. It's something we've talked about for a long time. The overall guild, the Alea Iacta Est, it started as an MMO guild. It started in World of Warcraft. It started in 2007. So here we are, 2019. People had children, and those children grew up, and now they're in AIE. And now they're in AIE, and who knows? We're gonna have grandchildren before long that are multiple generations. The third generation of AIE is gonna be coming along before long. But it was a clever name. It was a throwback to D&D and rolling dice, and the Latin phrase Alea Iacta Est means the die has been cast, which is a reference to Caesar crossing the Rubicon. Wasn't that it? I don't know. It's a famous Latin phrase, meaning.
I just know the dice part.
Well, I mean, it wasn't in Latin. It doesn't mean dice. It means what is that the train's left the station. But yeah, that the whole die has been cast sort of really fit for gaming too. So. And then he asked, what got you into podcasting? So, what did you... So, go through yours, and I'll talk about mine, because mine started a little bit before yours with just a little bit of extra bit.
Yes. Well, I mean, but mine really starts with yours, too, because I remember when you started being on the Cantina band.
Yeah.
And
That
we
was
also
sort
used
of the
to
start.
run ops with one of with from the host of that podcast, the Cantina Bombs band. So I knew Adam too. But why I wanted to do the podcast is because Max and I would have these conversations, on ops nights after ops, and they were always, to me, really interesting. And plus, I always had this notion that there were a lot of players out there that like to play MMOs and like to play the way that we like to play, which is friendly and fun loving and respectful, as opposed to something that's the opposite of those things. And I thought, well, if we just got our own podcast together and thought about and just talked about how we play the game and have our own opinions and just be ourselves, then hopefully we would attract people that we would like because they'd be like us. And then we could, have a guild and play this game together. And that was really the idea behind this podcast for me.
Right. And I agree. It was all about finding and getting more people to play with, and it always has been for us. So now 5 years later, we still do it. We've never even bothered to think about, it's not anything else for us besides that.
Right.
We haven't.
We don't try to monetize. I mean, we don't, that would be so much work.
Yeah, it would be so much mental effort. So we haven't done a Patreon, haven't done any of those things. And not saying that's wrong, a wrong thing to do. And there's some really awesome podcasts out there that you could go and support. And if you want to support some of the content creators, they have ways to do that, and I encourage you to go do that. That's the way we ask people to support us is why we still do the podcast, which is get the word out about AIE and come play with us. That's it.
Yeah.
But smash
We
that
just
like
wanna find
button and subscribe. Um, and smash that. We could use some more subscribers on YouTube. You want to do something there? Go get more people to subscribe on YouTube. Only because YouTube now hates us because we don't have. I think they
This
think
is what I love about our
should have
our
like
chat room.
1,000.
While you and I are having this discussion, they have another discussion, like almost completely unrelated, going on over here.
Yeah, well, and it's brilliant stuff too about the origin
Yeah.
of what Caesar was actually doing when he was crossing the Rubicon, and is it apocryphal? That it was he the one who actually said the die has been cast, or was it just attributed to him? And yeah, you guys are smart people. Anyway, so then again, the conversation in the post got back to making a guild successful, and how do we do a guild? How do you guild? So our guild, again, our greater community, and our guild in Star Wars is very focused around playing games with friends and having fun with those friends. Now, there's lots of ways to create a guild, and I truly believe this. You can have a very successful guild focused on a goal. And like some of the conquest guilds in Star Wars, they're focused on conquest, and they arrange their identity around conquest, and because they have that goal, they're really successful. And some of those guilds are huge, and they get tons, they get billions of conquest points every week because they're focused on arranging their guild that way. So having a goal, having that identity, creating a culture which supports that identity, that was my tip that I had. In AIE, our identity is casual, family friendly. Let's get together with people that are like us, that sort of fit into that culture, and let's have fun playing games every week. And now we play a whole bunch of games, and we have a whole bunch of fun, and we're designed for, what did I say? Designed for humans having fun.
Yes.
There's other ways
Right.
to
Right.
design
Like,
it, but that's the way we've designed ours. And then
I
you
think
had
everything
three
should be
more
designed
to
for
add to
humans.
our dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge of guilds being successful, which I thought was really good too.
One thing we try to do is be consistent. Like when we have weekly events, we have monthly events, we have conquest goals every week, and we always have a few ops teams in motion. So it's not. I mean, you kind of know what to expect, and especially now, we've gotten much better at this over the years. It's very well communicated, like what's going to happen with MFN, what our goals are for the week, whether we're focusing on the pub side or the imp side. But yes, that I feel like that's important, is to be consistent as opposed to, you know, I mean, we do introduce change, but then we go through an adoption process and make sure it's good for the guild. But yeah, be consistent.
Yeah. Which sort of reminds me, and as you're talking about it, those, being consistent and planning it out and laying it out ahead of time. We've got some really, really great officers. I mean, in the chat room here is BC, B Kavanaugh. He does
Yeah.
a write up for Conquest every week and plans it out and publishes it ahead of time and puts it in the guild message of the day and pins it in Discord and sort of lays out the best approach to going and getting some Conquest points. And that's just one example of one officer going off and doing a thing. Dent does this great thing where he checks in on how all of the ops teams are running and what do they need to how do they need to be supported. Zen is our lore master and contributes to how to set up particular events and how to arrange them, and reads all the codex entries for us. Everybody is sort of has a slightly different job. Marcus is our community outreach and PR person. Because people have those, the way we create officers in any division in AIE is not, it's not a reward. In fact, it's definitely not a reward. It's a we apologize when we make someone an officer. It's, do we have a job, a role that we need filled in a particular division? And if we do, who is equipped to be able to both support the culture of the guild overall and support that role? And our officers are doing that brilliantly in Star Wars, and that's a big reason that
Right.
we
And
stay on track as well.
we try to be, and we are fairly consistent across games too. Like, if you join us in SWTOR, but your a love for SWTOR wanes at some point and you want to go play Final Fantasy and you join the guild in Final Fantasy, it's going to have the same culture.
Yes. And the same opportunity to take those skills and that you've brought to the greater guild and use it in any of the divisions. So that's a key part of it as well. And then they wanted us to do a little bit about, we had one bonus question. Maybe we can get to that here in a second. But they want us to talk a little bit about Onslaught and what are the parts of the announcement really caught our interest. What did you say there for...
I gave a really unorganized answer that pretty much named everything that they had announced. But I story-wise, I kind of want to see, I hope it goes this way, that I want to see what Malgus does and what happens to Malgus. And I want to see why he gives that look when Asina comes into the picture at the end of the story so far. He gets that sort of terrified look when she says,
Yeah.
I'll be, report back that I'll be, for retraining, or she doesn't say retraining, but
And
yeah.
What would make you do this, Malgus? What would make you follow somebody like Asina?
Like, he's only like the
Pray
most
you never find
badass
out.
guy ever. Yes. So I don't know. Pray you
Yeah.
never find out.
But Malgus.
So that's definitely one thing.
Oh, yeah.
But
great character. They should have brought Kilron back too. These awesome characters. But yeah, brilliant. Oh, and then yes, you're right. And you also said Henri and Idar.
yeah, those are fantastic characters. Especially, like, even though I like the pub side story, I really like Major Henri character.
Yeah.
But those are story points which I'm interested in, but that's not what keeps me playing necessarily. I really like the sort of day-to-day stuff the things that you want to do to progress your character. So I'm looking forward to leveling, and I'm looking forward to
Sure.
how this gear system that they've been telling us so much about is actually going to unfold.
Right.
So yes.
And
I'm interested in
that was much more closer to mine and my answer to that, which was the approach to gear sets, what they've talked about so far, the idea of tactical items, and the idea of the spin of let's let's get that horizontal progression in, because I agree. I love the story, I love the game, but it's sort of the MMO bits of getting gear and running some content and progressing your character, and that's and then being able to show that off to your friends and having it persist in a world. That's what I really like about MMOs, and that's why I play MMOs and not single player games, because it doesn't persist in any public way. But this idea of horizontal progression, that's the game changer, I think, for 6.0 for me, and that's the thing I'm most excited about. I want them to stretch. I want them to sort of expand into that space, and I want the gear sets and or the tactical items, at least take one of them and take it off into left field and get a little crazy.
Yeah, I would like it to. I hope it's something that really makes a difference too. Like if they say you can make a speed set so that when you're out in the world doing whatever you're doing out in the world, you move faster. I hope it's like perceivably faster and not like
Yeah,
3%
but
faster.
I mean, that's a great idea. You become like the Flash, the speedster. It's sure, so fine, make it break on combat or something like that. So you're not like you're not like break, especially PvP. You can't unbalance PvP. Yada yada yada, balance.
Well,
But
out in the world. But yeah.
but yeah, do something weird like that, and then I'm like zipping all around, and you're not zipping all around, but you're like creating hurricanes, that tornadoes that are like pulling in mobs from 60 meters away and allowing you to AoE them in
That
a
would
big
be
pile or
oh,
something.
that
Yeah.
would be awesome. Yeah.
Something like that. But you better be geared, because they're all going to be attacking you too, and you do that in the wrong heroic area, and now you suddenly have 10 champion mobs on your face, and you're in trouble. But
And Shea Vizsla standing off in the distance just watching.
so I'm pulling all these mobs in and trying to AoE them down. Seema's running around me real fast, just watching me die. Yeah, and Shea Vizsla's 35 meters away healing herself. That's that's what it's gonna be.
You really make a picture.
paint that picture, so you can see why that's gonna be so awesome. Well, maybe that's not exactly what they have designed, but yeah, I think it's going to be a game changer. So I think that's going to be really cool. So it was really fun putting this together. Maybe we'll save the question we didn't use. We had a wall of crazy question. I actually can't find our answers, so I'm going to have to dig them up, because I took them out of the edited version of the version that we put this together on. But one of our suggested answers to a question was wall of crazy. What would our wall of crazy ideas and suggestions be to BioWare? And they didn't want to put it in the blog post, because you get it gets a little bit outside of what they can really sort of respond to. So
Yeah.
but maybe we'll look those up and come up with those.
Since it's an official post, they didn't want it to seem like anything mentioned in there was an official
right, and get
thing when we were just brainstorming.
Really derail things, which we probably really could have. But maybe we'll look that up,
Which
and
we
we talk about that all the
wanted.
time with our wishes and wall of crazy kind of things. But maybe
I don't think you guys will be too surprised by some of the things that are on there.
No, I bet you won't. But yeah, it was great. Really fun process. Daniel Steed was excellent. Really
to work with.
Yeah, excellent to work with. Really did a nice job, and they liked what we had to say, and we really appreciate them putting it up and asking us to do it. It was really fun. If you got any questions, if anyone has any questions out there about any of these answers, or reads through this and has follow-up questions, shoot them our way. Happy to follow up and happy to answer as far as that goes.
We actually have a channel in our AIE Discord for the podcast. So if you ever do have a question for us or just want to express an opinion, you're welcome to.
You are correct. And I forgot, that's relatively new. So we have a few podcasts associated with our guild. And as we add more potentially over time, we might add some extra channels down there. We have 3 main podcasts, though, associated with our guild. One is the official AIE podcast for the guild. One is ours, and one is Working Class Nerds. So there's a channel in there to put suggestions, to put notes. AIE-guild.org is the place to find the link to our guild Discord. If that doesn't work, chat me on Twitter or something at Max the Gray, and I'll get you connected up in there. But yeah, it's we'd welcome any suggestions, questions, clarification, that kind of thing in that channel. All right. That was pretty fun. It was pretty fun to do, pretty fun to talk about here a second time. But I think with that, our EPC 297 droid is ready to get kicked out an airlock and broadcast this audio version of our interview out to all of you. Please keep up with us at Max the Gray and at AIE SEMA on Twitter. And maybe before long, we might get on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube, sort of subscribe there on YouTube /New Overlords or twitch.tv /New Overlords, all the places. Get in our Discord, ask us questions in the channel.
I definitely think you'll see us on the Insta.
On the Insta, gonna do the Insta SEMA Insta /SEMA influencer. It's coming. It's coming your way. There, y'all.
I'll load it up with screenshots of my characters, all with their turtles.
Yes, every alt with a turtle standing next to it.
Yes.
But if you really want to find us, get on Starforge. Come find us there. Get in our Discord, as I said, aie-guild.org. We'll get you the pointers to where we are. Come find us in game. Join us. Play with us. As we keep saying, for the last 5 years, that's why we do the podcast. 5 years now. If you haven't joined,
5 years.
Get in here. Get on up in there. Get on up in the Starforge and play this game with us. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.